The story of Atlanta United begins long before its inaugural season, even long before its announcement, or Arthur Blank. This club is about so much more than soccer. The city of Atlanta owes its very existence to the several still existent railroad lines that converged and ended at the center of the city. By 1860, Atlanta had already become the largest gateway for commerce and overland traffic in the Southeast. During the Civil War, Atlanta became a supply depot for military resources. During Reconstruction, it was the primary site of federal government activities in the South, and was able to bring itself back together after being burned to the ground during the war, showing the first signs of a progressive, united city. Today, Atlanta is still a major hub for transportation and commerce. It continues to be a city of unity.
Our success really was the result of a perfect storm. The team came about because Arthur had been looking to procure an MLS team for the better part of a decade, and things just hadn't worked out for one reason or another, and we ended up having the opportunity for Arthur to get the team right at the same time that the opportunity for the Falcons to get a new stadium came about. So it allowed us to create a stadium that was built not just for the Falcons, but for Atlanta United from the very beginning. We picked the name because Atlanta has always been a city that unites, whether that was in the early days when we were a transportation hub and we united really coast to coast because two railroads were hitting here, the Pacifica and the Atlantic Railroad, and we united the country. Or if that was in more recent times with some of our civil rights heroes like Martin Luther King Jr. united the country in a different way. So Atlanta has always been a city that strives to unite, and we wanted to honor that goal in our team name.
Arthur Blank wanted a name that would reflect bringing all the cultural elements from Atlanta itself.
So there's a lot of symbolism in the logo, from the circle to the colors. So my favorite thing about the logo is the 5 stripes. So the 5 stripes represent the 5 pillars of the club, which are unity, excellence, community, determination, and innovation. Which, I mean, those 5 things right there really tell you all you need to know about Atlanta United. And when I think of how the city has embraced our team, I think of one of my best friends who moved to the metro Atlanta area when he was in the 4th grade. He moved here from White Plains, New York, and he was a big Mets, Jets, Knicks, and Rangers fan. He always wanted to cheer for the city of Atlanta because it had become his home, but he couldn't cheer for the Braves. He's a Mets fan. That was just against his DNA. So Atlanta United sort of became his connection to the city, because when he moved away, NYCFC wasn't even a thing. Red Bulls were called Metro Stars back then, and the league hadn't taken off yet. So by the time we came on board, the league was big enough to bring in all of these transients, these people who often get termed bad sports fans because they don't support Atlanta's teams, they support the team from where they came from. They've become our fan base, which has been a really cool thing to see.
They are a Harvard business case for how to start a professional team.
Everything's been authentic with this team from the very beginning, whether that was bringing in local celebrities, whether it was rappers or country singers or actors. Everybody was authentically Atlanta. Atlanta has a culture really unlike anywhere else in the world. And to really truly embrace that culture was something a little different than what some other sports teams have done. And I think our fans took notice of that and understood that Atlanta United is an Atlanta thing, and it's kind of the thing to do. And that's probably been our biggest factor in drawing such intense crowds. Massive part of bringing in those guys was Tata Martino. Tata is just an incredible leader and a world-renowned coach.
The original coach, Tata Martino, had a huge recruiting connection in South America. And like Miguel Almiron said from the beginning, that the reason he chose to come to Atlanta was he got to play for Tata.
I mean, the guy who coached Lionel Messi on 2 different teams, Barcelona and the Argentina national team. Miguel wrote a really nice article in the Players Tribune where he talked about why he came to Atlanta. And Tata said to him, "Miguel, quiero contar contigo," which is South American slang for "Miggy, I want to count on you." And that's what these guys knew that they could do. They could come in, they could make an impact. They could not just be random guys on a European team. They could be stars. They could be kings in this city, and also use this as a springboard to launch their dreams, just like Miguel has, where he's gone off to Newcastle and had great success. Starting anything new is tough. I mean, there are 1,000 guys in Silicon Valley that'll tell you that. Startups are always difficult. I think for us, it was trying to do something different within the MLS rules. MLS is so different and so complicated, where we've taken really the worst of world soccer with buying and selling contracts and the worst of American sports with salary caps and those things, and we mashed them together. And I think that that was a little difficult for some of our people, Darren and Tata included, as they tried to just learn the hoops that they had to jump through to be successful here. We knew that we needed to be downtown in that urban center, getting millennials, getting people like myself who really came to love the game in the mid to late 2000s because we all played FIFA. We targeted that FIFA generation that grew up watching Kaká, and we've watched Messi's entire career. We've watched Cristiano Ronaldo come about. And those of us that are that age are really passionate about soccer, and we're all, for the most part, centrally located in a downtown or midtown type area here in Atlanta. So the team did a good job of having the stadium in the right location to target those people.
The team did a great job of working with people in the community that formed the supporters groups and got the excitement going from them.
There are plenty of clubs in Europe that don't actually measure up to what we're doing right now. And I think for them, in a weird way, that actually gives them a lot of hope that they see what we do and they're like, well, if this can be done in America, clearly we can do this in London or wherever else.
Going down to the stadium is just, I look forward to doing it. We're going down and watching the club play.
Definitely had more money than we could spend, but the ways that we sort of worked around that were within the rules. So we built a beautiful $60 million training facility, and we certainly used that to our advantage. That first year, we had plenty of other teams come and train here. So we've done that with our training facility, we've done that with our academy and the amount of funding that we've put there. So even though we were constrained by the salary cap, we were able to spend money on peripheral things to attract free agents and top stars. We're able to bring in talent really from anywhere in the world because our training facility can compete anywhere in the world. We don't really measure ourselves against other ones here in MLS or in North America. We compare ourselves against the world. And as a top, probably 30 training facility, we know that we can attract really good talent.
They had a great marketing team, marketing plan. They involved the supporters from the very beginning. The supporters groups are important for creating excitement. The whole idea of catering to the season ticket holders and how they take care of them all help to do that. And then the fact they played excellent football.
I think our fans make this probably the best atmosphere in this country, if not the world, because they're just so invested in the club. Everyone has bought in from day one, which has been great. Our traditions have also really heightened that fan experience. You know, it's interesting to sit here and talk about traditions in year 3, but we've brought some really cool ones on, whether that's the large golden spike before the game that everyone signs, or the small golden spike afterwards that the man of the match hammers in. I'll never forget that first year when we lost to Columbus Crew in the playoffs. Leandro Gonzalez-Perez won the golden spike, and even despite a crushing playoff loss and penalties after 120 minutes, he still respected the club, the tradition, and the fans enough to walk over and bang that golden spike in. So we've been authentic in those traditions, and I think it's really helped enhance the game day experience.
Atlanta, being one of the most diverse places in the world, had a huge soccer culture. There's a lot of people from soccer first countries that are here, a lot of expatriates from Europe that are here, plus there's a huge population of people that have grown up playing soccer in the metro Atlanta area. And they were able to tap into all this on a professional level.
We constantly innovate here. We're always trying to be the next big thing, whether that's through unique marketing plans, whether that's bringing out a really cool kit that's going to launch next year. I think we did a really great job the past 2 years with our King Peach kit and sort of tying in that imagery. And I really look forward to our next away kit and the symbolism behind that one. But on a player success side, we're always doing everything we can to give our guys a little bit of an advantage, whether that's in the building or on the field.
The ball in behind, the header flies off his line, and it's a leveller. Less than 3 minutes into the second half, Atlanta United have struck back 1-1.
Probably the most interesting thing and the best thing about the club that people probably don't get is how incredible our guys are. Sometimes people maybe see the way Joseph acts on the field and might think he's a diva. Joseph Martinez is probably one of the best people I've ever met. Our guys are absolutely incredible. Doing what I do, I get to interact with them a lot. Our first year when we introduced our unified team, which is a team with kids with special needs, disabilities, and kids without playing together, unified, which is a big MLS initiative. I gave that unified team a tour, and we were standing out on the patio watching practice, and Miguel and Joseph actually stopped practice and came over to speak to all the kids. Tata had no problem with it, and the entire team came over. It was just supposed to be 2 people. It was supposed to be Greg Garza and Mark Bloom, who were the 2 team ambassadors that year, but it ended up being the entire team, really spurred by Miguel and Joseph. So if there's one thing that people don't know, it's we probably have the best group of guys in sports.
We knew this is a great city. We knew it's also a great sports city. And now we know it's a great championship city. Woo!
Atlanta United has not only become one of the most successful startup professional sports teams ever, dominating over its competition ever since its inaugural season in 2017, but more importantly, this team has become an emblem of the city of Atlanta. There are many ways to describe Atlanta, but one word in particular does a great job.